Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you in your part of the world when you happen to be listening to this. I would very much like to share with you today a relaxation journey to help us to find the peace that is always there. The peace that is even there during these difficult times, when all of us have had to cope with our design for life being suddenly disturbed, with everything thrown up in the air. And we all know what an unsettling experience that can be. But then it is surprising, and I certainly know this from my hypnotherapy training, how quickly we can start to recover our equilibrium or a sense of peace, even though life remains with great uncertainty and many of the things that we took for granted in a state of disarray. One small aspect of the hypnotherapy that I am trained in is the use of story forms. Story forms that act as a compass. Story forms that help us and guide us as we navigate the choppy waters of life. Story forms that connect us with the wealth of coping abilities that we have learnt in the past, and often from the stories of those who have gone before us, both the stories of those people that are known to us in a very direct way, our parents and our grandparents, and perhaps great-grandparents if we were lucky enough to know them. But there are those stories that have been passed on through time, stories within communities, stories of those whom we will never know, and also the stories that we tell ourselves each day. And it is those stories where we can really find within them the power to change, the power to live in the best way that we can, not ignoring the challenges, accepting the difficulties that are there, accepting the feelings that are there, but knowing that life consists of far more than those feelings. I think we can all look back to a time and to a loved one who came through great uncertainty. I know that I can think of my own mother who lived very close to the city of London. In fact, the place where she lived is now considered to be a part of London during the Second World War. And she had to, as a 13-year-old girl, embrace all of the changes, all of the not knowing that lasted not for a few weeks or a few months, but for 6 years. And always with the uncertainty of never knowing what kind of world they would emerge out into at the time when peace eventually came. But my mother and those around her, they learnt to live without holding back. She always tells me, or told me because she hasn't lived here on this earth since 1993, but she always told me how she felt this need to live without holding back, to really appreciate the present moment, and to know that just as her mother and her mother's generation came through the First World War and all of the changes and uncertainty that that brought to life, she learnt to have the faith to generate the hope each day even though she didn't know how it would be realised, that there would be, for her, a happy outcome that would blossom into a new tomorrow. And she carried that faith within her, not for a few days or a few weeks, but for 6 years, during which time she grew to be a young woman. She went to dances. She met my father. She made the most of life, became a mother, and undertook so many wonderful things that set the foundation for her later existence. And then when life emerged into peace, things got even better. So we know within all of us, we can reach back into threads of the past, where people lived with great uncertainty and not only learnt to live well, they learnt to thrive. And they didn't have the kind of isolation, perhaps, that we have now. But we're not isolated. We're connected on the internet and by so many wonderful technologies. And when we explore them, we're all connected by our different stories. When we think about that, I was talking to a friend in England today on Skype, and we started to get into various stories, and our stories led us into so many different threads of connection. I talked to my friend about how the bears, teddy bears and soft toys are being hung in windows or placed on windowsills in different neighbourhoods, in different countries, and how those bears, each of them has someone who loves them, someone who treasures them. They're either much treasured childhood companions, or they're the companion of a child who is enjoying them now. And when those children place a bear on a windowsill, they know that they are showing something, sharing something with the world, sharing something with the world in a way that nevertheless respects the essential social distancing requirements that we all need to respect at this time. Whether we agree with those or not, we need to respect them, because they are the measures that have been put in place to deal with this, and we all have to abide. But let's look more at the freedom that we can explore, the freedom within our own minds, the freedom to explore our own histories and our own dreams for the future, even though some of those more immediate dreams, perhaps places that we intended to travel to in the next few weeks, we know that we will not be able to undertake. But let's undertake a journey of the mind. Let's use our mind to explore. Our own individual minds will each take us on an individual journey on which we can explore that which we would like to explore. And maybe our imaginations will take us down some pathways we would not have expected. But I invite you to join me on this meditation, this creative visualization, where I utilise the use of story form from my hypnotherapy training. But this is not hypnotherapy, because with hypnotherapy so much more comes into it, and we all have individual needs rather than collective needs. But this is a meditation that we can all join in, regardless of our beliefs or absence of beliefs. We just have to believe that there is a strength and a creativity within us that we can source. around us that we can source. But to come back to my story, at a time when we feel isolated, it is good to find those things that make us feel a little more connected. And chatting with my friend today made me feel connected, because when I started talking about these bears and soft toys, he immediately went off and fetched 2 bears that had been given as gifts to him. And of course there was a backstory to that. Then we got talking about how our children, when they were small, and we were each travelling separately in very different countries, how each of our children managed somehow to lose the soft toy that was precious to them, and where that led us. Because my son, he lost his little toy elephant, and he was very upset about that. But I did manage to get the elephant back from the bus company on which the journey had been taken the following day. And little Ellie, as we called him, the little blue furry elephant that my son so treasured, had lost an ear. And that was kind of an important life lesson, because we got the elephant back, and then to begin with, my son was a little bit sad about the lost ear. But I was able to explain to him how it was most important that he had got nearly all of the elephant back, and we should be pleased with that. And the fact that his ear was gone perhaps made him more individual and more special, and certainly the experience of losing him and getting him back made him even more treasured than he was in the first place. And my friend had a similar experience with his daughter losing a soft toy, but she was not lucky enough to get the toy back. It was lost, and they had travelled too far before they realised it had been lost. So she had to adapt to getting a new toy. And there are some lovely metaphors within this, because some of us will go back to doing what we thought we would do, and others of us will find that we've travelled along life's pathway, or life's pathway has moved on, and we're looking forward to finding new things which comfort us, new things to love, new things to embrace. So let's now come to the relaxation part of the exercise. And you may want to rest comfortably. You may want to close your eyes. And you certainly should make sure that there is nothing you need to attend to for the next 10 or 15 minutes. And you shouldn't listen to this recording whilst anyone is driving, unless you are listening through headphones and someone else is driving, because it may make you feel a little sleepy as you withdraw your attention somewhat from the everyday world and enjoy your own inner resources, your own inner strengths, your own well of memory. So I want you to close your eyes and to start to relax a little more in whatever way is right for you. You might find you want to listen to your breath flowing in and out, in and out, in and out. Or you might find that you want to just feel your chest or abdomen rising and falling with each of the easy breaths that you take, allowing your body to start to feel heavy. And you might find that one finger on one hand feels heavy or cold or warm in comparison to the rest of you. Or you might notice an entirely different sensation that tells you you are starting to relax more and more. You're starting to immerse yourself in the well of relaxation and serenity within, before you go into the chamber of memory. But right now, in this very moment, your mind can understand, your subconscious mind can understand the metaphors that I've already talked about, with the story of the elephant that lost its ear but was recovered, and the other soft toy that wasn't recovered, that went on its journey and no doubt was eventually found by another owner who would treasure it and keep it, and may still be treasuring it to this day, for all I know. But as you are relaxing there, I want you to allow your mind to take you to a special place within your well of memory, a place that for you is associated with tremendous feelings of relaxation, peace, wellness, and contentment. This place may be a beautiful garden. It may be a beach. You may be in a building, perhaps an art gallery, with wonderful images upon the walls, and one takes your fancy. If that happens for you, maybe you would like to note the image and to ponder a little bit on its meaning. If your mind has taken you into a favourite garden, perhaps you'd like to notice the season of the year and just to feel whatever it is that you will feel around you. Maybe you can feel the wind just brushing against your skin. Or maybe you're walking in the wind and feeling the force of that wind. I know that I like to feel the wind when it is invigorating. Other people only like to feel the wind when it's very soft, like a zephyr of a breeze, and soft and gentle. If you have decided, or your mind has taken you spontaneously to a beautiful memory of being on the beach, you might be walking at the water's edge. You might be laying or resting, but you're doing whatever it is that makes you feel your most serene and peaceful self, your most content self. And I want you to remember the thoughts that flowed through your mind, that floated into your mind, the thoughts that came and went in the same way that the ocean will lap gently or crash violently on the seashore. We know for certainty that those waves, those beautiful waves of nature, those waves of life, that they have their own rhythm, that the power changes from time to time. We know that the Atlantic waves can be big and strong and sometimes catch us by surprise, just like life. We know that there are other oceans where the tide barely rises and falls, and the waves are very soft and rippling, a little bit like the lacy waves that ripple over our feet when we walk along the water's edge on a very calm day. But whatever memory your mind has taken you to, your subconscious mind knows the wisdom of taking you to that memory And the secret within that wisdom is the blessing of the moment, the blessing of whatever joy, whatever wisdom, whatever idea wants to flow forth from your experience of this memory, to come forth into creativity. Creativity that will in time, if you so wish it, find its way out into your life as you paint on the canvas of life, as you develop the canvas that is already in existence, or maybe decide to paint something new, or maybe life just kind of suggests to you that now will be a good time to paint something new. All of this is for you and the wisdom that is yours as you explore your own strength, your own wisdom in a time of serenity and peace. When we are calm, when we are quiet, our consciousness can expand, our ideas can expand, our creativity can expand, and we are much more likely to respond to solutions to whatever is around us in life. And even those things which right now might not seem as though they have an immediate solution, you might find yourself just spontaneously using an idea, a thought, or just having a fleeting memory that comes into your mind unexpectedly and informs the present. And maybe you think of somebody that you would like to contact, something you would like to say, something that you actually can do at this present time. I know a friend of mine here. She found a packet of balloons in a drawer. Like many of us at this time, she was dedicating some time to some extra tidying, although she's a very busy person, because she is actually a key worker at this time. But she found this packet of balloons, and suddenly the idea came to her that instead of playing beach volleyball, she could play balloon volleyball in her apartment with a couple of people that she shares it with. They could play like children, even though they're adults, enjoying a game of balloon volleyball, a makeshift game in her own living room with colourful balloons that they patted back and forth. And there are so many things that we can do if we think about it, if we allow our creativity to rise to the surface. But let's come back to the special places that you are all enjoying. And we all know that there are people in our lives, important people, people who have come through something that we would say that was difficult, but they've come through with good grace. They've not only come through, they've found a way to thrive. And some people actually seek out challenging experiences because it makes them feel fully alive. And maybe those adventures are a bit difficult to encounter just at the moment. Although of course some people have had to fight for their lives. And we know that our thoughts go with everybody who is in that position, that they are thought of and that they are loved, and that whatever the ultimate outcome is, that they are precious. Their lives were precious. Their lives meant something. And even though we're hidden away at the moment, all of us live lives that have great meaning, a meaning that continues to open out way, way into the future. And we don't need to know how long that pathway is, just to know that there are footsteps leading from the point that we are now at, and that we can walk those footsteps in inner peace, knowing that that pathway is there, and just aware for the time being of the next step, but of course dreaming of those greater steps, and knowing that we will find ways to live our dreams, and that even now there are many dreams that we can discover and live, dreams that can guide us, dreams that can uplift us, dreams that help us to explore more of who we are, because it is in these challenges that we quite often have to know a little bit more about ourselves, and sometimes we shy away from that. But let's embrace who we are, with all of the imperfections, all of the knowing that we can look back and see things that we could have done differently. From those times we learned so much, and we can look forward from that place of serenity that we experience in our special places, and we can know that those strengths that our ancestors built in their lives have come into our own DNA, have come with us into our lives, and we can activate those strengths, and we can utilize them and express them in ways that are right for us now, that are right for us to go forwards, living life with its joys, its challenges, its special times, its special moments, and the glory of connectedness that we so took for granted. The ability to talk to someone sitting on the bus, the ability to meet our friends and gather together. We know that these are indeed precious gifts that we will enjoy again, but precious gifts that we can value in the here and now, because we have enjoyed them and we know that they are a part of us. I would like you to take a moment to look around your special place and just to observe what you find there, and to see if there is anything that you would like to take with you that would kind of act as a metaphor to support you, to strengthen you, to help you to embellish your own sense of coping, your own joy of life, your own sense of thriving. So I will invite you now to look around your special place, to enjoy what you find there, and to find something special to take with you, whether it is a leaf, a flower, or maybe even just the memory of a part of this place. A part of this place that is real for you, inside your mind, inside your heart, a part of the weave of life, a part of your past, a part of who you are. So if you take that item, or that thought, or that knowledge that you would like to take with you, and hold it close to your heart, and keep it with you as something that is like a beacon to remind you of your own inner compass that guides you on your way forward, one footstep at a time. I want you now to get ready to leave your special place and to gradually return your thoughts to the place where you actually are in the everyday world, and then to come back relaxed and alert and refreshed, unless it is your time to sleep, when you will simply go to the place where it is appropriate for you to sleep, unless you are listening to this in bed, of course, and to then have your sleep and to wake up at the time you intended. But for most of us, we will want to respond and to come back to everyday waking reality and to get on with our day. And I will count up to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Getting ready to open your eyes and to have a stretch. 10. Thank you for enjoying this time with me today. My next meditation will probably have a more spiritual theme. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for your company.